Good morning. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about oxygen concentrators, problems you may have with them, and then the basic setup. Maybe I can answer some questions that you may be having with your concentrator. Our basic setup here at Tri-County Medical Supply, of course, you know there's many different kinds of concentrators you can get. This is a pure concentrator from Drive Medical Corporation. Hasn't been out very long, but it's been a very good concentrator so far. Of course, you have Invacare. This is an Invacare model. They have several different kinds. Also, Respironics puts out a model called Everflow. There's also, these are home concentrators. Most of the concentrators, not all of them, but most of them, has a little felt filter that the patient can keep clean. It's just like a window air conditioner filter. So if you see that dirty, you'd need to rinse it on your sink and squeeze it dry and put it back in your machine or on your machine. Not much to that. These will last quite a while. Sometimes after a while they'll start breaking apart. So if they do, you need to get your provider to bring you another one and replace that. The majority of machines does have an inlet filter. That's usually just the provider changes. If you think it's dirty or needs to be changed, you need to let your provider know. Most of the time the patients do not change this filter. But they, houses that does have like a lot of dogs or cats or animals in them of other types, I guess, they need to be changed more often. Or if it's a house that a lot of smokers is in, it would probably need to be changed more often. But you know, there's different kind of concentrators. They basically all do the same thing. And so the basic setup of ours here at Tri-County Medical Supply, how we do ours, is this machine here, you see, has a humidifier bottle that goes on the back of this machine, goes on the front of this machine. It don't really matter. It's just the way the machines are designed. And you know, it's this is a good bottle here we buy, but they are several different types of bottles of different brands. The keys to the bottle is probably the #1 service call in the industry that people gets in the middle of the night usually. They crack sometimes, usually due to people tightening up too tight, or they just get calcium buildup inside of them and they quit functioning. So the key to the bottle is to always use distilled water. It's always best, especially here in Arkansas. And then when you put the water in it, just make sure you get the lid on straight and get it on tight, but not too tight. Then always check your connector. Like this in here is a little loose. Make sure it's loose or it's tight, because if it's loose, it won't put out a oxygen because it don't have an airtight seal. Some companies skip the water bottle part just because it is a service call problem sometimes because it breaks or whatever, and they just hook up the cannula direct. This one gets hooked up on the front of the machine. This one does too if they hook up the cannula direct or the tubing direct to the machine. So either way, but this water, you don't have to use water in your concentrator, but what it does is it just puts a little moisture in that air so the patient's not breathing a dry air. So I'm going to put this back on here. And then from the water bottle, you know, of course you have a connector. It goes down to the machine. We usually put a 25-foot piece of tubing on ours. It can go up to 50 is what we use as guidelines. If you do more than 50, we try not to. You would need to check your liter flows at the end of the 50 foot. Because you may not be getting the proper liter flow. Like if you need 2 liters, you may not be getting 2 liters over a 50 foot. So that'd be something you'd have to check. We always put a water trap on ours. If we use a humidifier bottle, the water trap catches water if any gets past the bottle. That way it don't get into the patient's nose. So on these, if you ever see water in them, you just unscrew ours and then dump it out and put it back together. They both have threaded ends on each one. Each end is threaded, so you can unscrew either end. And some of the water traps you'll run across, maybe a cap, it just pulls on and off. If you do run across that, sometimes they're a little hard. You just have to keep pulling on it and pulling on it to get it off. I switched to a threaded cap just for that reason, threaded water trap, just because they're hard to get on and off. And if you, it's hard for me to get on and off, so if you have somebody that's in their 90s or so, they would have a hard time getting it on and off. So, and we put a soft cannula on ours. We spent a couple bucks extra, because the soft cannula has the sides here, it goes on the ears, is a real soft texture. So it really helps with reducing soreness around the ears. There is all kinds of cannulas available. There's what's called a TLC cannula. It has little pads that goes around the ears. Also, there are micro cannulas that's just real skinny here in the nose piece area. There's some cannulas that's just straight. Different brands of cannulas. If you have a cannula you don't like, just let your provider know, and I'm sure they've got other choices for you. You know, what's important is that the person on the oxygen is comfortable and is not suffering because of it. We want them to be happy with their oxygen if they have to be on it to keep their life going. So that's all I have for you today. I think I've answered a few of the basic questions here on concentrators. You know, also on concentrators, you do have every concentrator will have a liter flow dial. Sometimes if you get an alarm in the middle of the night, that would be the first thing to check, or even during the day, to make sure somebody's not messed with that liter flow dial. If it does get below 0, it will alarm. If it gets above 5 on these 5-liter machines, they are some 10-liter machines, but these are both 5-liter machines. So that's always something to check. If you do get an alarm on your machine, check that first, because I know sometimes little children like to play with those if you have any in your household. So that's a good common item to check. And also always the bottle. If you feel you're not getting oxygen, check that bottle first. You can always hook it up direct till somebody can get you a new bottle out to your house. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a good day, and God bless you.